Dr. Hannah Park looked at the message on her pad, worry on her face. The Crystalline Empire needed help. This advanced alien civilization had a big problem: their Queen Lyra was very sick. No one could figure out why. Director Kim stood across from Hannah in her small office at the Earth Medical Center. "They asked for you by name, Dr. Park," he said, his old face serious. "You know we haven't been friends with the Crystallines since what happened at Proxima. This could help fix things between us." Hannah ran her hand through her short black hair. "I know it's important," she said. "But the Crystallines don't let anyone touch them. They think touching is dirty and primitive. They only use machines and scans for medical care. How can I help if I can't examine the Queen properly?" Director Kim shrugged. "You'll have to figure that out when you get there. The ship leaves in 6 hours." He handed her a small chip with mission details. "Pack light. It's a 3-day trip." Hannah went home to her apartment and packed quickly. She chose her best medical tools, especially the ones that could work without touching a patient. But she also packed her regular examination gloves, just in case. Her cat, Pixel, watched her pack from the bed. "I'll be back soon," she promised, scratching his ears. "Jean will feed you while I'm gone." 3 days later, Hannah stood by the window of the ship as it entered the atmosphere of Azureth, the crystalline homeworld. The view took her breath away. Tall towers of crystal rose from the ground, catching the light of the planet's 2 suns. The buildings sparkled in blues, purples, and clear white. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Ambassador Lee stood beside her. He was tall and thin, wearing the formal blue uniform of Earth Diplomatic Corps. "It is," he agreed. "But remember why we're here. The Crystallines think they're better than humans in many ways. They'd had faster-than-light travel for 1,000 years longer than us. They think our way of life is messy and primitive." "What do they have against touching?" Hannah asked. "Their bodies are very sensitive," Lee explained. "They feel pain from even gentle contact. Over time, they built a society where everyone stays physically separate. They think it's more civilized. They believe sickness comes from contact with others." Hannah looked down at her hands. As a doctor, touch was one of her most important tools. "That's going to make this difficult." "That's why they sent for you," Lee said. "You've worked with more alien species than any other human doctor. If anyone can help without breaking their rules, it's you." The ship landed smoothly on a crystal platform. When the door opened, bright light flooded in. Hannah squinted as she stepped out. 3 tall crystalline officials waited for them. The aliens looked like people made of glass or clear crystal. Light moved through their bodies in colorful waves. They stood precisely 2 meters apart from each other. None of them touched. The tallest one stepped forward, still keeping distance. "I am First Minister Vax. Welcome to Azureth." His voice sounded like wind chimes. "We must proceed quickly to the palace. The Queen's condition worsens." As they traveled through the city in a floating transport, Hannah saw more crystallines. They moved gracefully, always keeping space between them. Even children played games without touching each other. "How long has the Queen been sick?" Hannah asked. 27 days, Vex replied. "It began with weakness. Now she can barely move or speak. Her light grows dim." Hannah thought about what that might mean. For crystallines, their internal light showed their health. "What tests have your doctors done?" "Every scan possible. We have the most advanced medical technology in the galaxy." "But no physical examinations?" Hannah asked carefully. All 3 crystallines stopped their gentle blowing for a moment. It seemed like they were shocked. "No one touches the Queen," Vex said firmly. "No one touches any crystalline for medical purposes. It is primitive and dangerous." Hannah nodded, but her mind was already working on the problem. Sometimes the old ways were still the best ways. She would need to be creative. The palace appeared ahead, the largest crystal structure in the city. Inside, Hannah knew, was a very sick queen. And somewhere in that beautiful building, Hannah would have to find a way to help her patient without breaking the most important rule of crystalline society. I hope I can do this, she thought as the transport approached the shining palace gates. Hannah followed Chief Physician Tix through the crystal palace. Every wall was clear like glass but stronger. The light bounced off them, making colorful patterns on the floor. They walked through 5 cleaning rooms where special lights killed any germs on Hannah's clothes and skin. Is all this really necessary? Hannah asked, watching the purple light move over her hands. Tix's body flashed with blue patterns. Yes. The queen must be protected from all outside contamination. We crystallines are vulnerable to foreign matter. They finally reached the medical wing. Hannah had never seen such advanced equipment. Machines floated in the air without any support. Screens showed body systems in perfect detail. Robotic arms moved medicine from place to place without any human touching it. This is impressive, Hannah admitted. We have the best medical technology in the known galaxy, Tix said. His crystal body stood tall with pride. Yet we cannot save our queen. Tix showed Hannah to a workstation. A large screen appeared in the air. It showed detailed pictures of Queen Lyra's body systems. These are the latest scans, Tix explained. As you can see, her cellular matrix is breaking down. The decay started in her lower regions and has spread upward. Hannah studied the images carefully. The queen's normally clear body was turning cloudy in places. Dark spots appeared throughout her system. This looks like a pattern I've seen before, Hannah said. It resembles parasitic infection. I treated something similar on the frontier colonies last year. Tix's body turned a dark blue color. That is impossible. Her Majesty has not left her royal chambers in 17 cycles. No foreign organisms can enter that space. Then someone or something brought it to her, Hannah suggested. I need to examine her in person. Tix's entire body clouded over with alarm. No one touches the queen. No one has physically touched a crystalline monarch in over 300 years. It is our most sacred law. I understand your culture, Hannah said patiently. But sometimes direct examination reveals things machines cannot see. If I could just take a small sample. Absolutely not, Tix interrupted. You will advise our physicians. We will carry out any treatments you suggest. But there will be no physical contact. Hannah sighed. This would make her job much harder. Fine. Let's start by changing her nutrition mixture. And I want to see everyone who has been in contact with her in the past 30 days. For 3 days, Hannah worked with the royal medical team. They tried 7 different treatments. Nothing worked. The queen grew weaker each day. Her once bright inner light was dimming. Hannah barely slept. She spent hours reviewing medical data and suggesting new approaches. The crystalline doctors followed her instructions perfectly, but always from a distance. On the 4th morning, Ambassador Lee found Hannah in her quarters, surrounded by floating data displays. You look terrible, he said. Have you slept at all? Not much, Hannah admitted. The queen is dying, and they won't let me properly examine her. Lee sat down beside her. You have to respect their customs. If you break their rules, it could damage relations between our species forever. And if the queen dies because of their rules? How will that affect relations? Hannah closed the data displays with a wave of her hand. I've tried everything they will allow. Nothing is working. Later that day, Tix called Hannah to an emergency meeting. The queen's condition had taken a severe turn for the worse. Her light is fading quickly, Tix said. His voice sounded like sad chimes in the wind. The royal family has gathered to say farewell. Let me see her. Please. Hannah tried one more time. You may observe from the viewing chamber, Tix said. But that is all. Tix led Hannah to a small room with a clear wall. Through it, she could see the queen's chamber. Queen Lyra lay on a floating platform. Her once magnificent crystal body was now cloudy and dark. Only a faint light pulsed at her center. Hannah watched the medical monitors. The numbers were dropping rapidly. "She has perhaps 1 day remaining," Tix said quietly. "We have failed our queen." Hannah stared at the dying queen. She thought about Director Kim's words about improving relations between humans and crystallines. She thought about her oath as a doctor to help those in need. Then she made her decision. "I need to see the queen's food preparation area," Hannah said suddenly. "Why?" "We have already checked her nutrition," Tix replied. "I have a new theory," Hannah lied. "Show me where her food is prepared, right now." Tix agreed, leading her away from the queen's chamber. But Hannah had no interest in food preparation. She had made up her mind. "It's time to break some rules," she whispered to herself as they walked down the crystal hallway. Hannah slipped away from Tix early the next morning. She had made a plan during the night. If she couldn't examine the queen with permission, she would have to find another way. She learned that the queen would hold one final court session. Even near death, royal duty came first for the crystallines. Hannah joined the crowd entering the great audience chamber. She wore her medical coat and carried her small bag of tools, looking like she belonged there. The chamber was huge, with high ceilings and walls that seemed to be made of living crystal. Light danced through them, creating beautiful patterns. Crystalline nobles stood in perfect rows, each exactly 2 steps from their neighbors. Their bodies shimmered with different colors showing their rank and family. None touched. None even came close to touching. On a raised platform at the front of the room, Queen Lyra rested on a floating bed. Even from a distance, Hannah could see how sick she was. The queen's once bright body was now cloudy and dark. Only a weak light flickered at her center. Machines surrounded the queen, beeping softly. Royal doctors stood nearby, watching the monitors with sad faces. Hannah moved slowly through the crowd. She needed to get closer to the queen without causing alarm. She stayed near the wall, moving forward a little at a time. Grand Minister Nix stood next to the queen. His tall crystal form glowed with official purple light. "Her Royal Majesty will now hear final petitions," he announced. His voice rang through the chamber like bells. Several crystallines came forward with requests. The queen responded in a weak voice that needed to be made louder by speakers. Each person stayed at least 3 meters from the royal platform. Hannah waited for her chance. When the last petitioner stepped away, she moved forward quickly. "Your Majesty," Hannah said, bowing low. "I am Dr. Hannah Park of Earth." The crowd went silent. This was not planned. The queen turned her cloudy head toward Hannah. "The human doctor," the queen said softly. "You have tried to help me. I thank you for your efforts." Hannah took another step forward. "Your Majesty, I believe I know what's causing your illness. But I need to confirm with a direct examination." The court erupted in shocked whispers. Some crystallines even moved back, breaking their perfect formation. The queen's voice came through the speakers. "You propose to touch me?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Hannah said firmly. "I believe you're suffering from a bioengineered pathogen, a specially made disease, that hides from scans by looking like normal cell material. I need to take a small sample to prove it." Grand Minister Nix stepped between Hannah and the queen. His body flashed with angry red light. "This is sacrilege. No one has touched a crystalline monarch in 12 generations. Guards, remove this human at once." Guards moved toward Hannah, their crystal hands reaching for weapons at their sides. Suddenly, the queen made a strange sound. Her entire body darkened even more. The machines around her began to beep loudly and flash warning lights. "She's crashing!" Hannah shouted. The royal doctors rushed to the queen with their scanning equipment, waving their hands over special controls. Hannah knew they wouldn't be fast enough. She made her choice. She pushed past the nearest guard and ran to the queen's platform. Before anyone could stop her, she pulled on her medical gloves and placed her hand directly on the queen's chest. The entire court gasped in horror. The sound echoed through the chamber like a wave. "Seize the human!" Nix screamed. His body turned almost black with rage. Guards rushed forward. But then something strange happened. Where Hannah's hand touched the queen, the dark cloudiness began to clear. A small circle of the queen's body became cleaner and brighter. The weak light at her center glowed a bit stronger. The queen's eyes opened wider. She lifted a weak hand. "Wait," she commanded. Her voice was suddenly stronger. "Let her continue." Everyone froze. Even Nix stepped back in surprise. "Your Majesty," he protested, "this is against all our laws and traditions." "I am the law," the queen said. Her voice grew firmer with each word. "And I command you to let the human doctor continue." Hannah worked quickly. She took a small sample from the queen's body using a special tool from her bag. Then she placed her hands on different parts of the queen, feeling for abnormalities. "Just as I thought," Hannah said. "The infection is centered here." She pointed to a spot near the queen's lower body. "It's not natural. Someone designed this pathogen to evade your scanning technology." The queen's body was now noticeably brighter where Hannah had touched. "How did you know?" she asked. "Human doctors still use touch as a diagnostic tool," Hannah explained. "Some things can only be felt, not seen. And my touch disrupted the pathogen's camouflage." The crowd watched in amazement as the queen sat up slightly. She hadn't been able to move that much in days. "Continue your treatment, Dr. Park," the queen ordered. "Nix, the court is dismissed. I will remain with the human doctor and my personal guards only." Nix looked like he might argue, but the queen's gaze stopped him. He bowed stiffly and led the shocked courtiers from the room. When they were gone, the queen turned to Hannah. "You risked much by touching me. Our laws demand death for such an act." Hannah nodded. "I took an oath to save lives, Your Majesty. That comes before any law." The queen's body glimmered with what might have been a smile. "Then save mine, doctor. And perhaps together we can change more than just my health." For 3 days, Hannah worked with Queen Lyra. She gave the queen medicine that fought the poison in her body. Slowly, the queen's crystal form began to clear. The dark clouds inside her faded. Her inner light grew stronger. Hannah slept little. She stayed close to the queen, checking on her many times each day. Sometimes she needed to touch the queen to give medicine or check her progress. Each time, the royal guards looked nervous, but they followed the queen's orders to allow it. On the morning of the 4th day, Queen Lyra sat up on her own. Her body shone almost as brightly as when Hannah had first seen her in pictures. "Call the inner council," the queen ordered a guard. It is time they learned the truth. 2 hours later, Hannah stood in a small meeting room with the queen and 12 high-ranking crystallants. They sat in a circle, each in their own special chair that floated above the floor. Minister Nix was there, his body flashing with angry colors. The queen spoke first. "As you can see, I am recovering. Thanks to Dr. Park's care." "We are pleased by your recovery, Your Majesty," said one old counselor. "But the human broke our most sacred law. She must be punished." "Before we discuss that," the queen said, "Dr. Park has important information to share." Hannah stepped forward. She waved her hand, and a large screen appeared in the air. It showed test results in pictures. "The evidence is clear," Hannah said. "Queen Lyra was being poisoned. Someone put a special toxin in her food. This toxin was designed very cleverly. It looked like normal cell material to your scanners." She showed more pictures. The poison was made to work slowly. It would seem like natural illness. No one would suspect murder. Minister Nix jumped up from his chair. "This is a human trick. They touch our sacred queen and then claim there is a plot among us. They want to turn us against each other." The queen raised her hand for silence. "The evidence is real, Nix. And thanks to Dr. Park's work, we know who is responsible." She pressed a button on her chair. The door opened, and royal guards entered. They moved toward Nix and 3 other council members. "What is this?" Nix's body turned dark red with anger. "We found the poison in your private laboratory," the Queen said calmly. "We have records of you accessing the royal kitchen. And your assistant has confessed everything." Nix looked around wildly. Then he grabbed something from his pocket and threw it at the Queen. It was a small crystal that broke near her, releasing a cloud of dark gas. "Guards," the Queen cried. But Hannah was faster. She jumped forward and pulled the Queen away from the gas. She covered the Queen's breathing holes with a special cloth from her medical bag. Guards grabbed Nix and the other plotters. They dragged them from the room, fighting and shouting. "Seal that gas in a containment field," Hannah ordered a crystalline doctor. "It's probably more poison." When the room was safe again, the Queen dismissed the council. Only Hannah remained with her. "Come," the Queen said. "Let us speak privately." They went to the Queen's personal rooms. These were smaller and more comfortable than the formal chambers. The walls glowed with soft blue light. "You saved my life again," the Queen said. "First by touching me when no one else would. Then by protecting me from Nix's final attack. You risked execution by breaking our laws." "Why?" Hannah smiled. "I'm a doctor. Helping patients is what I do." "Still, you went beyond duty." The Queen moved closer to Hannah. "Your touch, it was not what I expected. Our histories described human contact as painful and disgusting. But it was pleasant. And it seemed to help me heal faster." "Human touch does have healing properties," Hannah explained. "Our bodies evolved to help each other through contact. When we touch with care, our immune systems share information. Our nervous systems calm each other." The Queen's body shimmered in a way that Hannah now recognized as deep thought. "Perhaps we crystallines have gone too far in our isolation," the Queen said. "We believed separation kept us safe and pure. But Nix and his followers used our fear of contact to nearly kill me. If we had doctors who could touch patients, they might have found the poison sooner." "Cultural change takes time," Hannah said gently. "But maybe this event could be a first step toward something new." The Queen moved to a window overlooking the Crystal City. Nix and his supporters wanted to keep things as they always were. They feared humans would change our ways. They wanted me dead before I could sign the new trade agreement with Earth. "And now?" Hannah asked. "Now I see that some change might be good for us." The Queen turned back to Hannah. "Would you be willing to stay longer on Azurith? Perhaps to teach some of our doctors your methods?" Hannah thought about Earth, her small apartment, her cat Pixel. They seemed very far away. "I would be honored," she said. "But your people may resist such changes." "Let me worry about my people," the Queen said. Her body glowed with new determination. "You've shown us a new path. It's time we had the courage to explore it." 6 months passed quickly on Azurith. Hannah walked through the new building, checking that everything was ready. The Human Crystal and Medical Exchange Center stood near the royal palace. Its walls were part crystal, part earth materials. It symbolized the new relationship between the two species. Hannah stopped to look at a classroom. Workers were setting up special tables where crystalline students could practice gentle touching for medical purposes. Dr. June walked up beside her. He had arrived from Earth just 1 week ago to help Hannah with the center. "The place looks amazing," June said. "I never thought I'd see crystallines willing to learn human medical techniques." "It's been a long 6 months," Hannah replied. "Change doesn't come easy, especially to a culture thousands of years old." June nodded. "The first group of crystalline medical students arrives next week. Are you sure they're ready to learn manual examination techniques?" "Not all of them," Hannah admitted. "But enough." The Queen's support has changed everything. After Nix and the other plotters were punished, Queen Lyra had moved quickly. She signed the trade agreement with Earth. Then she announced a new medical training program. At first, many crystallines protested. They didn't want to change their ways. But the queen was firm. "Look at the city now," Hannah said, pointing out the window. Across the capital, large screens showed a famous picture, Hannah touching Queen Lyra in the throne room. Under it were the words, "Connection heals." What had once shocked an entire court was now a symbol of progress. "I still can't believe how much things have changed," June said. "Last year, a human touching a crystalline would mean death. Now they're putting up statues of you." Hannah laughed. "Just one small statue in the medical center. And change is still happening slowly. Most crystallines still avoid touching each other. But they're starting to see that sometimes touch is necessary, especially in medicine." That evening, Hannah put on her formal Earth uniform. Queen Lyra had called a special reception at the palace. All the important people from Azurith would be there, plus the Earth ambassador and other humans. The great hall was filled with light and music when Hannah arrived. Crystallines still stood apart from each other, but the space between them was smaller than before. Some young crystallines even stood close enough that their light patterns mixed together. Ambassador Lee found Hannah near the entrance. "Dr. Park, you've done what no diplomat could do. You've changed their culture." "I just did my job," Hannah said. "The queen did the hard part." A bell rang, and everyone turned toward the front of the room. Queen Lyra entered, her body shining brightly with health. She moved to a raised platform. "Friends, honored guests," the queen began. "Today marks 6 months since we almost lost our way as a civilization. For too long, we believed that isolation was evolution. We thought touch was primitive and dangerous. We were wrong." The crowd was silent, listening carefully. "Dr. Park showed us that connection can heal," the queen continued. "Her courage saved my life and opened our eyes to new possibilities. Today, we begin a new chapter in our history." The queen looked directly at Hannah. "Dr. Park, please join me." Hannah walked through the crowd to the platform. Everyone watched closely. "Together, we have created something new," the queen said. "A greeting that honors both our traditions and our future." The queen slowly extended her hand toward Hannah. It wasn't quite like a human handshake. The queen's crystal fingers only lightly touched Hannah's palm. But it was contact, something unthinkable just months before. The court didn't gasp in horror. Instead, they watched in respectful silence as human and crystalline connected. Some of the younger crystallines even clapped their hands together, making a musical sound. 1 month later, Hannah returned to Earth. Her work on Azurith was done for now. Dr. June would continue running the medical center. And Hannah missed her cat, her apartment, and Earth food. When she arrived at Earth Medical Center, Director Kim was waiting. His old face broke into a big smile when he saw her. "Dr. Park. Welcome home." He took her to his office where they could talk privately. "Your reports were amazing, but seeing you in person, you look different," he said. Hannah smiled. "A lot has happened." She put a small crystal object on his desk. It shimmered with inner light. "What's this?" Kim asked. "The Royal Physician's Badge," Hannah explained. "The highest honor in the Crystalline Empire. No human has ever received it before." Director Kim picked it up carefully. "Amazing. You've changed an entire civilization." Hannah thought about the queen, about the young crystalline doctors eager to learn new ways, about the slow but steady changes happening on Azurith. "No," she said. "They were ready to change. They just needed someone to reach out." Back in her apartment that night, Hannah's cat Pixel curled up on her lap, purring. She stroked his soft fur and thought about the light touch she had shared with the queen. Different species, different worlds, but the same truth: sometimes the simplest connection makes all the difference. The end.